So I'm gonna put my phone up here. I have the time.
Till 3 work. I don't know, you're doing the talking.
Greetings first.
Do you guys have any representatives for this one?
Nope. So to 3:30.
3:30. Let's wait 10 minutes.
This one's yeah, we will. So you can sit down.
Like nerve-wracking standing. Try to get used to looking at all the people.
He's great. So, okay, let's play the challenge. Maybe like when you're more successful in the sort of managing, I would think that's success. The purpose of the purpose of recycling is, yeah, and it's really appreciated. And that's why the loss are behind, but we're transitioning to implementation phase to find a better program. Our community cleanups just be a way for us to get rid of these trash without ever reduction of solid waste. So, are there metrics? And I'm sure there is on how much trash was created per community over the years. So like ideally we would want to see that number going down, but it's not necessarily. We're still saying just dispose. People are saving for the future. So again, but this is also to the community supporting the recycling. So we're going to yes. And they asked me to use like Bob and our staff time. They paid another time. We use the first fund code to go your time to just use our fund code. And on your dumpsters. And they asked me to coordinate it. It's like not this time because they want to go over.
How are you? I'm well. How are you? Okay, still. I'm still around. Yeah, I know. I heard you came work for another 5 years, apparently. I guess with my age, I can't leave or something. You've been put out there in the world. Now you're gonna stay. Yeah, yeah. You know, I feel all my colleagues come over me to Will I that code for yeah. So people know I'm like one step, but it's good. I'm mentoring and training, so that's really exciting. Yeah. That next generation. Yeah. So let's just hope that our funding stays stable. If we have a budget, that is. Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. We thought that this was going to be canceled. I was actually kind of worried about because that. I was. I didn't hear about about new continuous solution until September 30th. I was driving down to a private event. So it's kind of touch and go. I know. Exactly.
Like somebody else was
So thankfully we got a budget of they lose a site visit and the conference. Well, we'll see. I'm in my fourth decade. I had 3 shutouts. So it can't happen. So I'm telling the young people, I don't want to stop working. Yeah.
just because I want out of my life.
It's just kind of a weird.
But they said maybe purchasing some like
That's how we roll in the company roll. Or roll out of bed and in our face. But your program's doing well. I missed your session. I've been doing either moderation duty or running around and stuff like that. The microgrid, right? Is it the old economy? Of course, yeah. So I assume you guys are.
and if this is way too much to it's like you get free soap. So it's like I'm gonna go get free soap.
Because I want my grantees to come to you.
Because I get free soap.
Exactly.
That's one less class.
Funding out there.
And one less
You
class.
and I talked to Rob Lloyd are
And then I think that's
very
also
well-resourced tribes. So you're very good about being funded.
no, but it's like
They get intimidated by not just the EPA, but the agencies of our IRA and stuff like that.
but I think we're not education outreach is one of the big places.
Yeah.
We have our other like
What is it doing for you?
It's a crazy time. Good.
Yes.
But the way we give you, the way we negotiate the work plan, we give you more money, but we expect more work.
Yeah.
But you're right at the full plate.
Right.
Then
Yep. No. What else? What if like I don't know, looking at micro leads, and you get a lot of them.
Exactly.
It's like, oh man, they only take 1 or 2 years to do all this work.
Because you're right, it's kind of rolling the dice. You know a percentage you won't get.
Exactly. You play the percentages, right? Like I'm gonna apply for these, and like let's say in a normal year you might get 50%. And now because there's all this funding out there, you might get 80%.
Which
Is good. That's a 30% increase.
Yeah.
Get done, right?
But remember, it's
Yes.
careful what you wish
Yeah.
for.
Do you want to click it?
Exactly. It's all about
This one?
passing you have to click it. But even then, you also get strained.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Good talk.
Yeah, good talk, Will.
Are we ready? So hello again, Hung Maheshi, Rihanna Degum Daly. My name is Rihanna Jones. I'm with the Washoe Tribe Environmental Protection Department. And this is Yancey. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hello, my name is Yancey Burt. I work for the Washoe Environmental Protection Department as a technician.
I mentioned earlier in the previous talk that I've been with the department for about 4 years. Yancey was with the department for 8 years previously.
5 years.
5 years, 8 years ago. So our department started about 20 years ago. And it was started because of Leviathan Mine, which is upstream from our community. And then as we started going down that road, you know, a lot of other things came to light, issues in Indian country with solid waste, with recycling, with water issues, water rights, all types of sovereignty issues. So Yancey recently came back to the department, and it's been great to have him because he's been able to share a lot of information about how the programs were started in the past. I'm a fairly new director, so any advice or guidance I can get is always appreciated. The director who started the program was great at what she did, and she set up a lot of really cool programs. And so for Yancey to be able to come back and share that information with us and how we can use that information to be successful and move forward into the future has been great. So I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Okay. Where is the Washoe Tribe located? The Washoe Tribe is located in Lake Tahoe is the center of our homelands. We're right at the crux of California, Nevada, and we're the Washoe Tribe of Nevada and California because our homelands span both sides of the state. Our headquarters is in Gardnerville, Nevada, which is about 30 miles south of South Lake Tahoe. And the Washoe Tribe has allotment land in the Pine Nut Mountain Range, along with land in remote areas. A lot of the land that we have gotten is in trust or fee status, and it's not always the best parcels of land. Often they're very remote, hard to get to, but we're not going to turn down any land we can get back, right? So we have 4 communities. The Dresserville community is the largest. That's located in Gardnerville, Nevada. The Woodfords community, the Hungalalti community, is our only community in California. And we have the Carson Colony and Stewart community, which are located in Carson City, Nevada. Each tribal community has its own community council, which is then overseen by tribal council as well. Is there anything you want to add? So again, here's a map of our homelands. The blue line is our ancestral territory. The purple inner line is the line that the government said was our traditional territory. So we are working on expanding our homelands and the work we do in the full extent of our homelands, not just what's directly around us. So going a little bit farther up to north to Honey Lake, west or east to Pyramid Lake, south to Mono Lake, and west to Sacramento. Again, Lake Tahoe is the center of our homelands, and Gardnerville is located pretty close to Lake Tahoe. It's the closest community. I'll let Yancey do this one.
No, I don't do that.
Thank you, sir.
Trash accumulation in our communities. The Washoe Environmental Protection Department has had community cleanup events for years. At these cleanup events for tribal members, they are allowed to bring household garbage, white goods, which are appliances, tires, scrap metals, motor oil, paints, and car batteries. As we expand our program, we have applied for an EPA Swiffer grant. We are thankful for the EPA GAP grant that has funded our community cleanups for many years.
And one thing I was chatting to Yancey about as we were prepping for this is, you know, the GAP grant is for planning, not necessarily implementation. So we've had this program, I don't want to say for the full 20 years, but we've had it for quite a while. And it's been very successful, but we're in the next step to where we're no longer in planning, we're in implementation. And going back and looking at some of how we've done some of the things, there are things we can do better. So we're trying to switch up our program a little bit to make it more effective. Our community cleanups kind of became a way for Washoe Environmental to just get rid of everyone's trash. So we'd have 2 cleanups in each community every year, and people would hold their trash for the whole year, which can bring, you know, insects, pests, disease, mice into the area. So it wasn't necessarily working for us anymore. People were hoarding trash and then waiting for this free cleanup events, which were costing us, you know, around $20,000 to operate. So it's like, why are we just paying to get rid of trash? And then I think at a couple EPA conferences a couple years back, I attended a session and they said one of the main ways to change behavior is through education and outreach. So as we apply for the Swiffer grant and hope to get the Swiffer grant, we're still waiting to hear back, but that will be one of our main focuses on how do we teach people to make less trash? It's a really tough question, you know, like you still have to buy food, you're still buying food in packages. Water isn't always the tastiest on reservations, so a lot of people drink bottled water. Can we encourage them to use aluminum bottles? Can we encourage them to buy less plastic? So starting to teach people about microplastics and how it can get into the fish, and fish are eating it, and then you eat the fish and then it bioaccumulates in your body, and it's just an unhealthy situation overall, where I think a lot of people aren't making that connection. So like I said, our tribal communities have become accustomed to the cleanup events. We have stopped them this spring as our funding for that program has kind of wrapped up, and we're looking for other funding that works better for us and what we're trying to do. So there's a question here. It says, with our cleanups events being on pause, what will the community response be? What do you think, Yancy?
People are going to wait. Oh, people. I believe that people are going to still be saving up their trash and waiting until there's a cleanup, even if it's years later.
And like, what if that cleanup never comes? You know, then what happens? How do we deal with that? We're not sure yet, but we definitely need to look into it because it's an issue. So we're looking to evolve the program through building our department's capacity and working towards a modified transfer station. We're still in the early stages, learning a lot, going slowly, and looking for additional grants to keep the cleanups going. Just a little bit of info on our modified transfer station. When we first started the recycling program and solid waste program, we were doing the community cleanups. We have curbside recycling. We also built a recycling yard in each community that people, if they weren't comfortable having their recycling picked up on the curb, they could take it to a hub and drop it. So if they had too many beer bottles on their front steps, it's like, go put them in the yard. No one's going to see them, but please still recycle them. I'm talking about my dad. Do you want to do this one?
Just a quick question. Do you do buyback, like redemption?
No, so that's not really a thing in Nevada, but it is in California. But, you know, it's also kind of a moral dilemma. Do we take our cans from Nevada to California, or do we just take the Hungalelti cans, the community that's in California, to redeem those cans? And again, is it worth the staff time? Because we have to go to Lake Tahoe to do it, which is about 45 minutes away. We're in a very rural area. So looking at some cost effectiveness, we did have a feasibility study done. We hired some consultants under our EPA GAP grant as part of like the ETEP and stuff we're looking into redoing in the next year. But it might not be cost effective for us. So with the recycling program, we collect metals, and then in exchange for Western Metals picking it up, we give them the metal for free. We did get a cardboard baler, but we could never find anyone to share the information about who they sold their cardboard to. So if you have any contacts, call me. The Douglas transfer station won't share that information because they're making money off it. So it's like, oh, are we competing with them? It would be on such a small scale that it wouldn't really be competition, but that's one of the things we need to think about. Do you need this one?
No,
Do you have anything else to add?
I do not.
Yancey's going to take my job someday, so I'm trying to gear him up for public speaking. Thank you for your patience. So our recycling program, we've implemented a curbside recycling program for years, as well as having household hazardous waste stations in each community. They have since been decommissioned because people were filling in with pizza boxes with aren't recyclable and other trash. So part of this issue is we don't have trash pickup on the community. Some people pay for it, most people don't. Some communities pay for the whole community's trash. Other communities don't. They don't have it in their budget. So again, if they don't have anywhere to throw their trash, they're like, oh, Washoe Environmental will take care of it. And we do. If they put trash in there, we're responsible for getting rid of it. So again, it hasn't really become cost effective because not only are we doing the recycling, but now we're also taking their trash that they illegally dumped. So recycling totals are taken down at each week for GAP reporting purposes.
Our recyclables are taken to the Douglas County Recycling Center. And our recycling program is tentatively ending in December as our gap funding, as I guess I should say, as we're waiting for our Swiffer funding to come in and moving from gap to Swiffer.
Hello again. I'm a little nervous, even though I can't see all you guys. So this is about the modified transfer station location. Um, oh. WEPD has decided to go the route of implementing a modified transfer station, which is the yellow building in the picture. The site is located in the southern portion of the tribe in Dressaville, next to the Carson River.
And just to follow up on that, the modified transfer station, so this is on ranch land, this is on agricultural land, and we chose to put it here just because we simply had space and the ranch manager allowed us permission. So that yellow building was like for hay storage. Ranching has kind of gone down in recent years. We don't do as much as we used to. So that building was available for use. It's like, hey, can we use this to have our recycling station set up here to have oil recycling, paint recycling, and then this structure in front, that's our first hoop house for our resilience garden. So we are kind of planning on taking over this whole area for Washoe Environmental as ranching continues to dwindle. Keep going, bud.
The location was selected because Dressville is the largest community and is centralized within the 4 communities. Household hazardous waste stations in each community have been decommissioned, so WEPD can have all operations in one place.
So, as you can see, it's a mess in there. We're not quite sure how this is going to work. You know, we've been collecting people's trash and providing it in their own community. So now how do we get them to come to this station that's kind of centrally located? But again, it's still, 20 minutes from Woodford's, 20 minutes from the 2 Carson communities. We're not quite sure how to get people to, do you have a question? We're not sure. So if you have any ideas, again, call me.
So I was going to suggest something that Saboba did. Okay. So what they were doing is they got their youth involved. They also had like a barbecue lunch. So if you were bringing stuff, you got free food. And then they were also offering swag as well. So I know we're struggling in this area as well because we literally had to get rollouts to take to certain people's homes to clean up their yards. And less than 2 months later,
Yep.
it needs to be done again.
It's like, how'd they get all that trash back?
Where the hell do they go to get it? They don't even have a car.
Right?
And they don't have a job. So I don't know where they're getting all this stuff from. But
So Craig, write that down. Lunches, incentives.
Christian at Saboba. He's here. I saw him. There he is right there.
Oh, hey. Give me your card. I need your home phone number. Yeah, and a while ago, again, at an EPA conference there, and I don't know if this was your community, but they said they did have incentives where you could buy bulk dish soap, laundry soap, cleaning supplies, and then have people bring a refillable container. So it's like, come do your recycling, drop your recycling off, get some free soap. That's one last plastic water bottle that's going into the landfill. Getting kids involved is definitely a great idea because if we're not focusing and starting with our youth, then what are we doing? So that might be something we will look into. And I think there is a component in that for our Swiffer grant to pay for kids to go do trash pickup in their own communities. And again, talk to them about talking to their community. So it's not just us like, hey, you all need to do better. You're making too much trash. But when you hear it from your youth and it's speaking level or a community level, then it's more appreciated than us just being, you need to do better. So we do have a recycling manager, Bob Wyatt. He does the curbside recycling and then he does special pickups. So if you have a refrigerator that you need picked up, you can call us, put it on your curb, we'll come pick it up. He also collects motor oil, paints, and batteries inside the yellow building, the transfer station, until there's enough to have a pickup. Logistics on how the public will enter the facility are being worked out. We've recently put up a sign just like, hey, this is here. Please come down. But again, putting it in our newsletter isn't quite enough. It's difficult to get the word out on how that this is a resource available to you. And people are like, oh, well, you cut off our community cleanups. It's like, no, we haven't. We're just transitioning to a new phase that may be easier for us and better for you. So getting our community to understand that, like, hey, this service is still available for you. You just maybe have to drive a little bit or do a little extra work on your own to get there. So tribal members can bring down the above mentioned items during work hours. And then we've opened a little gate section that you can drop stuff off 24/7 here. So again, that old ranch house is a building we're trying to move into as part of our Brownsfield program, trying to use old tribal buildings. We are in a trailer currently and need more space. So this is a perfect opportunity to restore this building, be closer to our transfer station, keep an eye on it so bears don't break into it anymore. And then also have these gates open during the day to encourage people, because kind of when you, even though it says after hours, you see a closed gate and it's like, oh, forget it, I'll just deal with it later. Yeah, see?
And we also have white goods. What was that?
Just checking the time.
Oh, okay. And metals. So as you can see in the dumpster, we put a lot of appliances. We just fill it up and we call Western Metals to come collect it. And they end up just bringing us a empty dumpster, and that's all we do with it, I believe.
And again, that's something, do we need to look at how we get paid for these metals now? We're just giving it away in exchange for free pickup, but we need to see if this can be economic endeavor. Still figuring it out. Some questions.
Do you have to do the Freon too, in refrigerators?
Jason does.
Does he?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you have a front loader to crush the white goods down in the roll-off bins to make it a little more economically advantageous so that they're not coming and taking the roll-off so often?
Yes, we do. We don't have one of our own, but the tribe has one that we have to kind of coordinate and borrow. So again, same with the community cleanups. If you crush down that trash, you can fit 10 times as much in. And again, like is what we've been doing cost effective? Not necessarily. So how do we plan ahead to make sure that we're getting the most bang for our buck?
Just a quick question. Do you guys when you guys get the items, do you guys process it, like break it down, or you just throw it all in there and like try to have someone break it down, like copper, aluminum, brass?
No, we just throw it all in there. And that's part of the exchange, that they're able to take it. And then Western Metals is the company we use. They can pull out the copper and brass and whatever valuable material is in exchange for them throwing away the rest of it. So, we need to look at what that would be and if it's cost effective for us to do it ourselves and pull it out, sell that, and then dispose of it. And instead of having a company take it away and do it all, could we be getting some money back? Or is it going to be more costly for us to throw away the excess?
All right. This is a question I have.
Thank you.
I'll get this.
Sorry.
We also pick up, we use motor oil and antifreeze. We just fill up these containers here, as you can see, and I believe it is about 3 barrels, and then we call Reno Drain Oil to come exchange it, and I believe that's it.
And again, that's a service that costs us money, but is there a better way to do it We've considered having a hub where people can come there and change their oil on a concrete slab, because a lot of people do it in their yard, and then again it leaks into the ground, and then we have another environmental issue on our hands. So that's something we're considering. Again, not sure what that's going to look like in the future. That is all we have today. Thank you. If there's any more questions.
To kind of help the process along with getting tribal members to deal with their trash, and we have those pickups too. And I was thinking just the same thing the other day, what you were thinking about. It has to stop because people are waiting for that to come and they're not dealing with the trash. It's building up and it's attracting pests and vermin and whatever else. And they're used to that, right? But kind of one of the things that we use is kind of a policy we have in our housing department. And, if they do violate things, we just attach, a fee to that. Even could lead to eviction if it gets really bad. But that's kind of gives us a little bit of control over that.
I've tried that. So, of course, it's in our ordinances and bylaws that you have to keep your yard clean. You can't have junk cars piled up. Sometimes it's not enforced. Sometimes there's not capacity to enforce it. Is that our Washoe Tribal Police biggest priority when there's other things going on? It's not, unfortunately. So, if we need to have, maybe we use some of these funds to make environmental rangers and go threaten people, and, with respect to giving the dumpsters, we used to give out elders dumpsters for one-time use of cleanup. People tried to abuse it. Housing will still go and put a dumpster for people to clean out their house and pay for it. But again, as you're providing this opportunity to have it be taken away, then you're not really doing anything to reduce it yourself.
I forgot to add earlier. The way we do it is once a white good comes in, we had training on this before. What we do is we once a white good come in, we kind of like analyze it to see what can be like copper,
Yep.
aluminum, and we try to tear it apart. And then when we do that, we load it up in our trailer and we take it to this closed place to where it gets recycled. In the end, we get back a certain amount, and that kind of like pays us, maybe for the gas, and then the rest goes to upper management. But other than that, we basically just tear it down. Every water pump, every white goods, and even loose metal. We try to get like car parts, anything. We try to break it down. We do more research. I do more research. I'm like the supervisor for the recycling department, so I try to go in detail and try to get every single one, put it in the bucket, and they'll all add up. And pretty soon we turn it in. And when we turn it in, we get something out of it, and that'll really help us out.
Thank you. That's great to hear. And I think that's definitely something we'll try. Our recycling manager now is an environmental technician who's, the boots on the ground, but is he thinking of ways that we can be more innovative or more cost effective or somehow make money? We might need to bring in additional people to help that program. We manage roughly 20 grants in-house. EPA GAP is just one of them. So we might need to, again, capacity is always an issue. Bring on more staff that's just focused on solid waste and recycling instead of like myself and our managers and Yancey and Bob just trying to keep the program going. Like we need to give it more attention, a little bit more love, more eyes on it to see how we can make it better. And that's a great suggestion on something new we can try. Thank you.
I just wanted to add one more thing. When we had a recent meeting, I was told by my upper management that we had recycled over, I think it was 80,000 pounds of recycling just this past year.
Awesome.
So we're kind of like trying to bump that number up. So basically, that's one of our. Just want to let you know.
Awesome. I better go check our numbers.
Any other questions? Okay.
We're about 1,300. Yeah.
Sorry.
Can you hear me? I'm with Robertson's office. We're from San Carlos,
Mhm.
and we recently revised our solid waste code, and I'm their enforcement officer, unfortunately. So what we're doing is the same situation that you guys are going through. People have had help, gotten their yards cleaned up, but now what we're doing is part of my enforcement is we give them time to clean it up. And if they don't comply, that's when we give them a citation, which takes them into court. And what I'm trying to do is work with the local prosecutor to try to give them probation to be a part of their condition to get the yards cleaned up. And like you're saying, starting from the ground up, it's teaching our community members that this is something new and this is something they have to do. And enforcement would be a good way to start. And it is hard. It takes a lot of patience because they don't think they have to do it.
Right.
But we always tell them, can't be proud of who you are if your land is, dirty.
Right. And that's one thing we thought about as well is like, can we have an incentive program for like best yard? Like we have a native plant garden. We'll give you some plants for free if you're going to fix up your yard and clean up the trash and maintain it. Or can we pay kids to maintain it?
Yeah.
I would love to put some people on probation and put them on a trash pickup crew.
Yeah.
But again, a lot of these members might be elders too,
Yeah.
and that's a sticky situation. Again,
Yeah.
with like kicking an elder out of your house because they're not cleaning up their yard or in compliance.
Yeah, and one of the things we're doing is we're working with our local housing officers to do the same thing because under the rental agreement and
Yep.
under their tenants, they got to keep their yards clean.
Yep.
So
Same.
they're lucky to see us come around now. So and I was just we have about the same numbers, but
Mhm.
it's good to hear what you guys are doing, and we're pretty much doing the same thing. So appreciate the information.
Thank you. And if you have a card, I'd love to get it. How to crack the whip on trash accumulation. Thank you.
I know I do the same thing. I'm always like, it's like I always like, I feel like I know what I'm going to say beforehand, and then I get up.